Omar Badr is a member of the National Policy Council of the Arab American Institute, and he joins us live from Washington, D.C. Omar, what kind of response do you think we can expect from Iran and Hezbollah at this point?
Yeah, it's unclear what form that response is going to take, but I think it's a pretty safe bet that it's going to be a pretty significant response. Both Iran and Hezbollah have made pretty clear the fact that what they're going to respond with is going to be more significant than anything that we have seen so far over the past 10 months. And you can see why. I mean, carrying out major attacks both in the Lebanese capital and in the Iranian capital is a very, very big deal. This is an obvious effort by Netanyahu to push the region towards a much wider conflict. It's a very provocative action that he's attempting to cover up for his failure in Gaza, for the fact that he has not been able to achieve any of Israel's stated goals there. And he's attempting to effectively cover for his failure by looking for a broader conflict that he can potentially drag the U.S. into in order to try to salvage something out of the situation. But we are really on the brink of something extremely serious in the region and a very, very dangerous escalation.
Omar, we know that last time Iran launched a strike on Israel earlier this year, there were huge diplomatic efforts behind the scenes to make sure that attack was managed, limited, and Israel ultimately knew it was coming. Do you think Iran will play ball in the same way this time?
Yeah, what happened last time is that Israel was very careful, Iran was very careful, rather, to initiate what looks like a major strike, but primarily a symbolic one, in that they were careful not to cause any casualties where the rockets actually did land in Israel. So they launched a significant number of drones that they knew they were going to be intercepted, slow, loud ones. I think this is a little bit different because at this point, they actually have to cause some damage in order for them to not look like a paper tiger, basically, in the region. This is a pretty significant affront to Iran's regional role, to their national security, that an assassination can be carried out in their capital. And I don't think it's going to suffice right now to respond symbolically. And I think the same is true of Hezbollah. So far, the conflict between Lebanon and Israel has been maintained beneath threshold in a way. There were contained rules of engagement, and Israel crossed every line imaginable by striking in Beirut, striking a residential building, causing the killing not just of a senior Hezbollah commander, but also of civilians being struck in the capital. At this point, also Hezbollah is in a position where they are absolutely forced to respond in a way that meets the magnitude of that attack. So I think we are inevitably going to see an actual, real, significant attack on Israel in the coming days. And we'll see if they can actually thread that needle. What does it mean to respond in a meaningful way that meets the magnitude of the attacks that we have seen in Beirut and in Tehran, but still not lead to a war? That's an extremely difficult needle to thread, and it's not clear whether they're actually going to be able to pull it off, or whether we are on the verge of a really, really major conflict right now.
And what about the ceasefire negotiations for the conflict in Gaza itself? Is all of this the death knell for those?
Certainly for the foreseeable future. I think Netanyahu has not been interested in any ceasefire in Gaza. Anybody who's been paying attention knows this already. Hamas has actually bent over backwards trying to accommodate unreasonable demands just for the sake of reaching a ceasefire agreement. And Netanyahu has found every single way a reason to basically say no to a potential ceasefire. And as this pressure was mounting, I think Netanyahu knew he could effectively kill those negotiations by killing the person he's negotiating with on the other side. Haniya was known to be the leader in Hamas who was more interested in achieving a ceasefire, more flexible, more pragmatic on that front. And by eliminating him, at this point, the only remaining Hamas leader is Sinwar, who's based in Gaza, who is much more hardline about the possibility of a ceasefire. And I think this is Netanyahu's way of actually killing the ceasefire in the foreseeable future and pushing it beyond whatever comes on the other side of this regional confrontation that we're about to see.
Okay, Omar Badr, thank you so much for joining us on TRT World.
Thank you.